Good afternoon. It is Sunday, December 22nd, 2024, a few days before Christmas. I'm continuing to write out the book of John, which has been a great experience. It's really helped me slow down and just kind of take in word by word what the gospel writer was trying to communicate. This morning I found myself in John 18, and it is the end of Jesus's long, basically his long prayer, his long communication, his final words with his disciples, because he's about to be arrested, and he's spent several chapters just praying for them, talking to God about them. He's leaving what I guess is the upper room, and now he's leaving the city, and he's walking across the Kidron Valley to the Garden of Gethsemane. And what we find out is that Jesus is about to be arrested. And I came across this one verse where it says this. It says, Judas then, having received the Roman cohort and officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, came there with lanterns and torches and weapons. And so they're coming to arrest Jesus with their weapons of war. And this is what I thought about, is that oftentimes we make much of the things in this world that feel like they're against us, whether it's the government, whether it's your employer, whether it's just any sort of authority. And you feel like you just can't get a break. You feel like it's just everything you do is met with resistance, and it's oftentimes we make a lot of the strength of this world. And what we have to remind ourselves is when we look in the Gospels, we need to understand that Jesus' time on earth, he was restraining his power by taking on human flesh, but also by being in subjection to God's plan for him. He was restraining himself constantly. He could have done so much and just obliterated all of his enemies. And we see that especially from John 18 and on, where Jesus is, on paper, it looks like he's not in charge. But the entire time he is, whether he is before Herod or whether he's before Pilate or whether in this moment he's being arrested, he's in total charge of the entire process because he's submitting himself to the plan that God had before him, as he would say, the cup that God gave him. And all that the world had to offer to resist him was what he described here: lanterns, torches, and weapons. And I often go back, anytime I read about whether it's the Pharisees opposing Jesus or the Roman soldiers opposing Jesus, whoever it is, I always go back to these little verses in Psalm chapter 2. And this is what it says. Psalm chapter 2, verse 1. Why are the nations in an uproar and the peoples devising a vain thing? Let me read that again. Why are the nations in an uproar and the peoples devising a vain thing? The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. And what it goes on to say is that God in heaven, he's laughing. It says, he who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. And it's just so vital that we as Christians understand that what God's will will occur. That there is nothing that can stop God's will from occurring. We know the end of the story, and that is that Jesus will sit on the throne and all nations will worship before him. He has already won. It's a matter of time till that takes place. So just my encouragement today is to remember that today, whatever you're going through in life, whatever it is, remember that God is in complete control. He is not only in control, he's the one who is in complete authority. And that cannot be doubted. No matter what you're experiencing, no matter what you see in the world where it just seems like the world is winning, that Satan is winning, he's not winning. He temporarily may have a little victory, but the battle has already been won. And it happened just within a few hours of these verses that I read in John 18, is that Jesus' death and resurrection spelled victory, complete victory for Jesus, for God, and for us. So remember that today. All that the world can really bring are torches and clubs and swords. That's it. That's it. But those things are not eternal. They turn into dust. But God reigns forever. So remember that today. That Jesus took the cup that God gave him and he drank it to the full, and we are the ones who benefit on that. So word of encouragement today. Have a great day. Take care.